the swaddle wrapped around him, a gentle hug that kept my beloved son close, filling my heart with warmth and love. Nobu, a name that resonates with memories and experiences, evokes a sense of warmth and connection. Each visit feels like a journey, where flavors intertwine with stories, creating a tapestry of moments that linger in the heart. A name that echoed with the weight of memories, the warmth of dreams, and the legacy of generations. It was more than a name, it was a subtle affirmation of his identity and the dreams we held for his future, a single word that embraced my spirit like a heartfelt vow. It stirred a deep sense of warmth within me. In the quiet moments, trust weaves its way through the fabric of our lives, creating a sense of continuity that comforts the soul. Hana and I selected it with deep intention. In the quiet of the night, we found ourselves lost in the pages of Japanese baby name books, our hearts racing as we explored the meanings together. Each name we whispered held a promise, and then, in a moment of shared wonder, one name resonated deeply, bringing us to a gentle pause. Nobu, a name that resonates deeply within me. It represented a deep sense of trust and belief. Enduring through the years, perseverance, it was everything to us. It signified a deep connection between our cultures, something vibrant and alive, a name that carried the weight of history while also whispering promises of fresh starts. I found myself, at the age of 24, a man stepping into the profound journey of fatherhood, filled with fear and a sense of being overwhelmed indeed. Yet, in that instant cradling my son, an unprecedented sense of tranquility washed over me. His delicate hands, the serene look on his face, the gentle rhythm of his breathing, he embodied the most beautiful blend of Hana and me. In that moment, I felt an overwhelming urge to shield him from anything that could harm him, incorporating his name. Though our families existed in vastly different realms, the bond that Hana and I nurtured had consistently connected us across those divides. We honored the richness of our cultures, embraced our unique differences, and envisioned a future where our child would carry the pride of both heritages within them. Nobu held a significance that transcended mere words. It felt like a delicate thread weaving together the echoes of the past and the promise of the future, bridging the divide between East and West, intertwining legacy with hope. Yet, within the tapestry of love stories, there often lurked their own shadows. Heartbreak found its way into my life not through the actions of a stranger or an adversary, but from the very person I had always turned to for unwavering support, my mother. It started quietly, almost imperceptibly, a smile that barely holds together, revealing the weight of unspoken feelings, a lingering silence that stretches on. Nobu? That's unique, she murmured, her voice wavering, her eyes a mystery. I hoped it was just nerves. What a delightful twist. Perhaps there's a gap that spans generations. She had always found comfort in the known, in the rituals that shaped her world, and in the sense of security they provided. Yet deep down, I held on to the hope that she would eventually see things my way. She simply didn't. Soft murmurs evolved into sharp comments. What once felt like helpful suggestions transformed into stinging critiques. It feels so distant and unfamiliar. He will carry that burden of spelling it out every single day of his life. Why not choose something ordinary? Is it like Michael? Every comment felt like a small crack in the beautiful dream that Hana and I had so lovingly crafted together. I made an effort to convey my thoughts, starting off with a sense of calm and understanding. The name holds a profound beauty, resonating deeply within the heart. The significance it holds within our culture. It represented the bond we shared, yet my words sank heavily into an empty abyss. She turned away from them all, her heart heavy with unspoken thoughts. He's gonna grow up in America, she whispered, her voice tinged with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Consider the kind of name that will truly resonate with him in this place. Yet I had already taken that step. We shared. That was the essence of it all. Even so, I found myself attempting to make sense of her response. Perhaps she simply couldn't grasp it. Perhaps her fear stemmed from a deep concern for him, worried that the world might not show him the kindness he deserved, that his name could weigh heavily on his shoulders. I found myself wondering, perhaps it was born from love, after all, a love that twists and turns, full of complexity and depth. Yet can we truly call it love if respect is absent from the equation? Everything changed in that moment when she laid eyes on Nobu for the first time. Hana and I poured our hearts into cleaning the house from top to bottom. We had prepared tea. I took the time to prepare her favorite snacks, hoping to bring a smile to her face. I envisioned a moment filled with warmth, her gentle embrace around him, her voice tenderly murmuring his name, and that radiant smile of hers full of pride and love, lighting up her face like only a grandmother's can. Instead, she cast only a fleeting glance at Hana. Her gaze was fixed on the bassinet, a mixture of hope and trepidation swirling within her heart, and then she let out a joyful laugh. With a lack of warmth, "That poor child will always find himself having to explain his name," she said, her voice heavy with sympathy as she shook her head. "It will forever linger as a source of heartache." In that moment, everything around me seemed to pause. Hana remained silent. She felt no obligation to. Her silence resonated with a depth that overshadowed any cry for help. In a heartbeat, her joy slipped away, leaving behind a profound sense of quiet, wounded disbelief. A searing anger simmered just beneath the surface, a feeling I couldn't ignore. "Mom," I said, my voice trembling with emotion, "I've had enough." Her eyes filled with a mix of surprise and vulnerability. "It was meant to be funny," she replied, her voice tinged with a hint of vulnerability. "Try not to take things so personally." "I'm serious about this," I replied. "It's the name we chose for our son. It truly holds significance, dear Hana, for my heart, for him, and I refuse to allow you to treat it as if it were something easily discarded." Her expression clouded with a heaviness that spoke volumes. With my arms crossed, I felt a wave of emotions wash over me. Barriers are being constructed. If a bit of playful teasing is too much for you, perhaps my presence isn't meant to be. "Perhaps it's best if you don't," I suggested softly, and I truly meant it. The door slammed shut, echoing the weight of unspoken words and unresolved feelings in the air. The house trembled, a deep, unsettling vibration coursing through its very bones. And as it came to rest, the stillness enveloped everything around. That night, Hana's tears flowed freely. I embraced her tightly, murmuring regrets that felt so unnecessary to express. Yet guilt seeped deep within me, not for the sake of recognition, never for the sake of a name, yet we allowed someone we cherished profoundly to make her feel unworthy. On that fateful night, I found myself at a crossroads, and I made a choice that would forever alter the course of my life. I couldn't bring myself to take Nobu to see her. Only when she could whisper his name with tenderness, only when she could truly embrace its significance. It was only when she began to see him as a blessing rather than a burden that everything changed. Ever since that moment, the messages have continued to pour in, relentless and unyielding. "It feels like I'm being punished. You are preventing me from seeing my grandson. I was just speaking my truth." Yet being truthful does not equate to being harsh. Love that lacks respect is merely a facade for control. She has called me out for my perceived coldness, far away, feeling overlooked and unappreciated. Perhaps that is indeed who I am. I can't shake the feeling that I might be letting her down in certain aspects. Perhaps I need to put in more effort. Perhaps I need to discover a path that connects us across this chasm. Yet whenever the thought of inviting Nobu crosses my mind, Hana's expression from that day lingers in my memory. Her hands shook ever so slightly. She gently lifted his blanket, her movements soft and deliberate, before turning and walking away, leaving a lingering sense of absence in the air. There was a profound grace in the way she held her silence, and I hold close the memory of the promise I made to my son to keep him safe, not only from strangers but from anyone who diminished his sense of worth, even if that person happened to be my own mother. Recently, I've found myself reflecting on the cherished moments of my childhood. There was a time when my mom would softly sing to me as the night wrapped around us, Her voice, gentle and soothing, would fill the room, creating a cocoon of warmth and love. Those moments felt like magic, a lullaby that carried me into dreams, where I felt safe and cherished. Each note was a reminder of her unwavering presence, a bond that transcended the darkness outside. She would carefully pack my lunches, slipping in little notes filled with love and encouragement. She always found herself in the front row of every school play, her heart swelling with pride and anticipation. She poured her heart into love, even when her expressions were rough around the edges. I can't help but think that maybe this is her unique way of showing she cares. If her fear of the unknown is her distorted interpretation of love. Yet fear will not be the force that shapes my son's journey. Insecurity will never define who he truly is. He longs to hear his name uttered with a sense of pride. He must understand that his roots are not something to be ashamed of. In that moment, I find my strength and hold my ground. Every evening I cradle him in my arms, softly sharing the tales of his name's origins, whispers of ancient peaks and sacred places, reflecting on the legacy of my ancestors and the intimate moments shared over tea ceremonies, of resilience inherited through quiet moments and elegance, of love expressed in every language. Perhaps in the years to come, he will wonder about the absence of Grandma and seek to understand why she is no longer with us. I find myself at a loss for words, unsure of what to express just yet. Yet, I hold on to the hope that by that time the silence will finally be shattered. There will come a day when she picks up the phone and softly says, "Tell Nobu Grandma misses him." That she will utter his name with the deep respect it truly merits. And if not, then I hope he will carry with him the knowledge that his name was selected with deep affection. It was something I felt deeply compelled to protect. That he deserved to be defended. Reflect on this. Would you have chosen differently? Would you have set your boundaries in the same place I did? Or might you have discovered another journey? I don't pretend to know everything. Perhaps, in opening up about this, I can guide someone else on their own journey to discovery.